Good evening, Dr. Larson. This is Matthew Smith from Team 5, including Shane Roberts, Pam Velez, Kara Whittington Evans, and Eskinet Zudi. I'm going to be presenting the final project slides that we created for the Team 5 analysis group assignment using IBM Congos Analytics. Taking a look at the screen, I think that we kind of let the cat out of the bag, that we chose the life expectancy data. And essentially the purpose of the assignment is to use the Congos Analytics IBM software to prepare, explore, and visualize the data using the life expectancy data set. And once those initial tasks are completed, we will use that same to develop predictive models, display a dashboard, and our final storybook presentation, which we're presenting now. So just to kind of give a little background, the data set we chose, again, is the life expectancy data set that contains an initial set of 22 features and 2,398 rows of data, which summarizes the yearly average life expectancy for the 193 countries that were part of the data collection effort. Those 193 countries were studied for this data set for 15 years, from the year 2000 to 2015. The target variable, and I think that's another one that's pretty self-explanatory, is the life expectancy category. And each of the 22 variables clearly kind of gives some sort of a push or a reason why life expectancy, like where it's at, and often and then hopefully we're going to find out and what the goal of the project is to say, here's where the life expectancy is, here's where it's good, here's where it's maybe a little bit lacking, and I hate to use terms like that when we're talking about people's lives, but that's essentially what we were doing here. And then what type of suggestions could we make so that the life expectancy of all 193 countries could be improved in some way. And it's an interesting subject, certainly. A lot of the information in here was kind of things that I don't know necessarily that relate to the United States, but living here, because we are we're lucky, not that we have the highest life expectancy by any means, but we do live in a developed country with at least the better than expected in terms of healthcare and availability of healthcare. Now, that's not to the entire population, but just a general statement. Obviously, that's a whole other discussion and topic in terms of individual here, because ultimately what we are looking to do is see if we can glean some insights into what what out there is going to get the better results in terms of the length of people's lives. So the ability to predict life expectancy is going to give an insight into what is the overall health and well-being of a population. This then is going to help public health officials, policymakers, predict where there's gaps, and potentially find ways to improve the healthcare systems within the country, whether that is a nationalized healthcare, privatized as we have here in the United States. And this type of data can really help promote the idea of more healthy behaviors within the population. Maybe some of the things could be simple as a training or education on why these things should improve, et cetera. And this data could then provide and allow these the different countries and jurisdictions to proactively help people and make lives, longer and theoretically better. But that's another discussion again for another day. So that's a little bit of background. What we really took a look at were three things, and we have this labeled as the year in our presentation. But essentially, what we're trying to take a look at here is, what is the average life expectancy for all people within the data, and that's 69.2 years. And then kind of where can we kind of start to divide the data up and get an idea of where things are maybe a little bit better than others. And if you take a look at the life expectancy by year status graphic, I think it really it's important. It's important information because there's kind of a split in the data where we have countries that are considered developed countries and those that are developing. The developed countries consisted of about, I want to say about a quarter of the countries fit the developed, and the rest are considered developing. So, it's important. It would have been good information to know what exactly was the developed or developing, how that was determined, how that label was determined. That information was not available, at least in what we had from the data set. But developed countries, they tended to have the longer life expectancies than your developing countries. And, a lot of that has to do with two kind of main factors. Number one, economics, and we'll take a look at some of the information in the next tab. The amount of money that we spend that is spent by the country, specifically as it relates to the gross domestic product, there's a direct correlation there. So while money doesn't buy everything, in this case, it's the data shows that money can buy better healthcare, or not necessarily better healthcare, but better results when we take a look at the life expectancy overall of the country. The other important part of this is also the accessibility and availability of healthcare. Specifically vaccinations, such as your polio vaccination, safe contraception when it comes to the HIV/AIDS, and HIV/AIDS also testing, and just an understanding of the disease, etc. And so that's kind of where the line is drawn with this developed and developing. And the ultimate goal here would be, number one, to see what we could do to close the gap between the developed and developing. While certainly in developed countries, we would have maintained and continue to increase that life expectancy. And as you can see, from 2000 to 2015, both lines are moving in a forward direction, a positive. I would be interested to have seen what this chart looks like for the years during the pandemic. Who knows where that would have been, but we only have through 2015 here. But we would really like, I would assume the goal, or one of the goals, would be to get the green line, which represents developing countries, to go get closer to that blue line, while obviously the blue line maintaining and continuing to go up as well. So one of the couple of things we have there is just taking a look at where has more money available, and where can we get the money, and then where's the best place to spend it to get that good increase. And then some of the other charts just kind of go through some of the similar information. Here we have the group, part of our feature, part of the EDA process was to go ahead and move the life expectancy into groups, and then we can kind of take a look at where they are, and you can see that this chart right here is really telling. The blue the blue circles, are indicative of the developed countries, and while there's 80 and above in here, there's also the higher clearly are the developed countries. So telling the story with the pictures is the most important thing. And here's just a couple slides that kind of give over the years and what the kind of problem statement is, or root cause is, not necessarily root cause, but what the problem statement is. How do we get this life expectancy overall? Like, what can we recommend based on this data to do, to go ahead and increase life expectancy overall? So moving into the next slide, we have, what we take a look at here is some of the different areas where where the money is going. And as the amount of money increases, I mean, it's no matter how you slice it, life expectancy goes up. So as countries spend more, and again, money is not the solution, or the solving for, it's not going to solve everything. But it's clear that spending additional funds, from within the country's budget to go ahead, what it's going toward, health and health care, and counseling, and providing vaccinations, etc. You're just going to get a better outcome, and that's ultimately what we're here, to try to do. We want everyone to live the longest, the best life that they possibly can. Once we get to the third, what we're just kind of trying to show here is, the map feature, that is pretty cool, that we can put together for each of these different slides here. First one just kind of goes life expectancy by country. Darker, the darker the blue, the darker the hue of blue, the higher on the scale. And you could kind of get an idea, on really on all these, which countries, what parts of the world are developed, and which parts are developing. Not necessarily always, again, but this is just a general kind of rule of thumb. And then the importance of preventative healthcare and education, and providing the ability for people, especially when we come down here to like the HIV AIDS, which is really spread throughout, but there's a significant, the life expectancy increases. And I know this is probably not anything that's a wow insight here, but the better the healthcare, the better information that people have, the better the outcome. So essentially, the places where you have less disease, and you're going to have better outcomes. And a lot of these diseases, polio, hepatitis, they're communicable diseases, or however they are spread, but understanding what they are, and there's a vaccine for polio, and there's certainly treatments for hepatitis and HIV. But understanding, this is more the HIV and hepatitis are more along the lines of things where education and understanding, are going to make the difference. And a lot of that comes into having the money to give to people to do this education. So it all kind of wraps up there. So I think that overall, the end game here is that the two main cogs that we can really put out there is spend more money, spend increasing the amount of money that's spent on healthcare, and then with that money, use it wisely to make sure that the diseases that can be helped or cured, or prevented with a vaccination, are taken care of. So, in the end, this is our project. Thank you very much for taking a look. I hope that everyone has a good rest of their evening, and we will hopefully see people next semester. Bye now.